soon. Getting it ready to go. Now, I'll just check on my notifications.
Yep. So you always got to check and make sure it actually went live for you.
And I think it looks like we're there.
Awesome.
So, that's fantastic. So I am so excited to welcome Berlin here this morning. And she's going to just tell us all the things. So Berlin, I'd really actually like you to start by telling us like where you grew up and what your background is and where you live now and what brought you to Plexus.
Absolutely. I can totally do that. Yeah. So I was born and raised in Flint, Michigan in the US. So I lived there most of my life. 5 years ago, my husband graduated with his second degree in school and we moved to Texas for his new job. So I've been here for 5 years down in the South, which is very different from living in the North. It's like a whole new world. So that is kind of, yeah, a little bit of my background. My main background, like just in my adult life, comes from I was actually been in the health and wellness space my whole life from the time I was 17 years old. So I was a competitive gymnast, and then I got into the bodybuilding and fitness world after having a pretty hardcore injury. I broke my spine as a teenager, and so I stepped into the fitness world because it was easier on my body, but still fulfilled a lot of my passions and was very similar to what I was used to doing. So I stepped into that world, became a personal trainer, and was a personal trainer for about 10 years or so. And then came to Texas. And I've done a little bit of personal training since I've been here, but I took a bout of time where I was a foster parent for a year. So I've had 12 foster kids in a year's time. So a lot of babies, not all at once, but I had at times 4 kids at a time. So I did that for a while and then decided I wanted to step back into the wellness space online. I didn't want to do brick and mortar. My husband and I know we don't want to stay in one place. So I'm like, it didn't make sense to start another business in a city and then like know that we want to leave again. We actually really want to travel. So I started looking into ways to do it online. And I was kind of crafting that actually when I found Plexus. So I had some things I was crafting, found Plexus, and yeah, that's what leads up to the Plexus point. I don't know if that's all that you wanted to hear, but
well, that's incredible. Yeah, that's great. So what was it when you say you were crafting something and you found Plexus? So what about Plexus? Was a fit or was interesting, or like what did that look like for you?
yeah, so I'll tell you how I found Plexus because that's a big piece of it. So I actually was at a faith-based conference that had to do with finances, and there I met Dr. Jess Hogendorn. I actually ended up sitting across the table from her. It was like the last seat at the special dinner. Like we were running late because we caught snow on the way in Texas. There's snow and rain, and yeah, and so we're running late, and the last seat that was open was directly across from Dr. Jess. And in that time frame, I was actually getting ready to join another network marketing company simply because it was one that was launching brand new. And I sat across from Jess and started a conversation with her, and she started telling me about Plexus. Well, I'm trying to think. I think first of all, I think she started telling me kind of her story and her background about being a naturopath doctor. I've always loved natural health, always been into that, always been into oils, detoxifying my home, things of that nature. And so she started telling me about her story, her daughter's story of going through cancer, and then started telling me about Plexus, which I had actually heard about before. My childhood best friend's mom had actually sent me Plexus samples. I think she sent me some Slim samples a couple years ago. And to be honest, this will probably give some of you guys some like good feelings about this. Like my first Slim experience with Slim was not a good one. I tried the samples. I had been told nothing about them. And I had severe stomach ache. Like this was before I got into probiotics or knew much about it. So I wrote it off, right?
Yeah.
I was like, no, because I
Poor
wasn't given any information. It was, yeah, I wasn't given any information. And it was just kind of like, here, try these. Let me know what you think. I know you're in the health and fitness space. You know, my mom owned a supplement store, so I've tried lots of supplements, lots of them. I've tried the good ones. I've tried the good tasting ones. I've tried the crappy quality ones. I've tried the good quality. I've tried all of them. I've tried the safe ones. I've tried the unsafe ones, to be honest. Like, so I've tried a lot of them. And so I wrote it off at that point. But when Dr. Jess she started talking to me about being a naturopath doctor, I was like, okay, if a naturopath doctor is interested in this, that kind of like makes me want to actually take a peek at it. So she started sharing about it. We actually didn't get to talk much the rest of that conference, but we connected afterwards, and she actually sent me her video with her story and how she found Plexus. And I had actually been, like I said, I was actually crafting some health programs to help people. I have a background in going through years and years of eating disorders, so I was crafting some stuff on helping people with food. And so I kind of had a little bit in my mind where I wanted to search for supplements anyways. I was like, we'll find stuff on Amazon, do affiliate links, like with something, right? Like these people are going to need some form of supplements. They're important. And so when we looked at Plexus with Dr. Jess, we looked at it. I say we, my husband and I, like we're definitely like we do like everything together. Um, we looked at it and I was like, okay, ingredients look good because that was important to me. Testimonies look good. I was like, okay, let's try it. Like we'll order it for us. My husband actually had severe digestive issues, so um, we were like, yeah, let's try it and see if it works for him. He had been working with a naturopath the last year and wasn't seeing much progress. A different naturopath, not Jess. Um, and so we're like, let's try it for him. We'll see how the supplements work, how we feel, and then like maybe we can recommend them to the people I plan on coaching. So we tried them, and then how far into the story do you want me to go?
We're good. I'm fascinated, Berlin. This
Okay.
is really good.
Okay. I'm like, am I going too far? Yeah. Yeah. So we tried the supplements and everything, and I started telling my mom about them. So my mom and I actually co-own a personal training studio up in Michigan. So I told her about them, and she was like, well, sure, I'll try them, right? I'll try them and see. And she actually started signing people up before I did because she had her personal training clients that were there, that she was there one-on-one talking to about what she was doing. And of course, when she's doing something, her clients are like, well, I want to do that. Like
what's that?
My personal trainer's doing it. Yeah. Like I want to do it.
it.
Yeah. So I think she actually went silver before I did. I think she had like 4 or 6 people signed up before I did, before I even had 3. So she shared with a few people there, and then it kind of just got to where like I shared with a couple of my best friends, and it wasn't until about 3 months after I signed up that I really was like, okay, I'm going to share this stuff. Like I've read enough testimonies, I've seen enough things. I'm gonna dive into this. So I think I signed up January 2020. 2020, yeah. And then about March is when I really started signing up. I should say, I think that's when I signed up like my first 3 people. So it might have been that my mom signed up then, and then like my 2 best friends, because one was like, I want to lose weight. The other one's like, I don't have a gallbladder and life is miserable.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's kind of how I got into it. And then I just started sharing on social media. I do everything on social media. I don't have I have like one friend here locally. That's it. So everything I do is online. Yeah, and I'll kind of pause there. That's kind of like how I got to Plexus and why I decided that way.
That's amazing. So you started January 2020. So you really like not even 18 months yet. Or what?
Right.
16,
yeah.
16, 17 months?
Yeah.
Really, really interesting. And so what did you find? So let's see, we're going to back up actually a little bit. So you tried, your husband tried. So what kind of a health story? I mean, you initially you didn't like the taste. So what did that start to look like for you?
I'm trying to think. I'm just going to be raw and real about some of my first experiences because I know other people experience this too. First whole month I had a headache because of Slim, because obviously my liver needed some cleaning. And so I did switch things around. I was like, all right, I'm going to take it in the afternoon. I'm going to drink a bunch of water in the morning. And I realized like I needed a bunch of water before I had my Slim. That's what I realized. So that was like a piece of my experience. But when I started the protocol for myself, I was like, I don't really need it. Like I said, my husband had severe digestive issues from time as a teenager. He was a wrestler, so he did a lot of like starving himself and then binging on donuts in high school. It's really great for your gut health, right? Really great. So he's and we're both into health too. Like we met in the gym while getting ready for bodybuilding competition. So like we've definitely invested in our health, but that was a piece that was missing, that we hadn't gotten on par for ourselves.
Right.
And yeah, so I mean, for him, he was the main reason we were doing it. For me, I was like, well, I'll try him too if I'm going to recommend them. Like, I need a multivitamin. What the heck? Why not? Right? They're pure, they're clean, I'm good. And so I didn't feel like I had a ton of things that I needed help with. However, I am a chocolate person, hardcore chocolate person. And I have chocolate after lunch and I have chocolate after dinner. And I don't remember how far it was. I think it was a couple months in. I was like, we haven't made late night chocolate runs in like 2 weeks because the grocery store is 2 streets over. And I was like, I also noticed, like, I've always been a nap person. Like, 2 o'clock would hit, and boom, I was like, it's nap time. And it could be a 7 minute nap or a 20-minute nap, but I was like, girls got to take a nap.
Yeah.
And I was like, I haven't taken a nap in a while. And like, I haven't been exhausted. Like, normally I would get like tired, like slurring my words almost because I would get so tired just all of a sudden. Um, and so I noticed that was going away. And then like for my husband, he started to notice, he's like, his digestion was changing. Like, it has been a long journey for him, but he was at the point where there were certain foods, like if he even took a sip of alcohol, he was going to vomit for like 24 hours. Like, there were to where there was nothing in his body and just dry heaving sick. Like, he had food allergies and stuff build up in him. And so he started to notice he wasn't feeling as crummy, wasn't feeling any of that stuff. And so that was, a big piece of it too, where I'm like, okay, if it's working for him, for sure. Like, because we've tried everything. Like, we had done Gap stuff before. We had done, like for the Gap site, we had done basically everything except for this. I feel like so many things. So yeah. And then for me, just kind of like continuing on through my journey, something else I started to analyze that I actually learned when I started sharing plexus is I started to realize that not everyone had period cramps like I did. Not everyone, because I was one that I was like, I would literally wake up in the middle of the night, first night of my cycle. We're getting raw and real here, guys. But I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would literally all of a sudden be soaked in sweat, but also chills. I would always run to the freezer, grab an ice pack for like my forehead, the back of my neck. I would shove fruit in my mouth because I could feel I'm about to pass out. I didn't realize that was not normal until I started with talking to people about plexus. Okay. Because when I was a personal trainer, I mostly trained people that were in their 50s and 60s. So we weren't usually talking about, hormone imbalances unless it was heading towards menopause. Mm-hmm. And so I started to realize that wasn't a normal thing. However, I also started to realize that things started to get a little bit better. And with balancing my blood sugar and having that come into play, I was later on did some testing and stuff, found out I did have PCOS that I'm now in the process of getting rid of, and getting much better with that. But that's been kind of my journey. Like, I literally was like, I don't think I have anything. I'm just going to take this because it seems good for me. And then I was like, oh, I'm not taking a nap. Oh, I'm not craving chocolate. Oh, hey, this is awesome. Like my periods are getting better. So that was a lot of my journey. And then I'll just touch on my husband, since I mentioned before too. Now, like, he can, if we're out to dinner and I have a drink, he can take a few sips of my drink to see how it tastes without worrying that he's going to just vomit for 24 hours time. He can have a glass of wine if he wants to. And so it's something that he celebrates. He's not like a beer type person. He's definitely like a hand me a glass of wine type person. But yeah, so those are the things on like the health side of our journey.
Cool. And you mentioned PCOS, just you dropped that little nugget that you said you're working on. PCOS, I mean, that's not short, that's not long. That's not something I've dealt with. So I'm curious, you said working on, what does that look like for you?
Oh, I think you froze up on my end.
Oh, goodness. You just go ahead. Maybe which one of us froze up, I wonder. Let's see. Maybe I disappeared.
Am I here? You're back now.
Yeah, we're back. Okay. Awesome.
I was like, oh no, she froze.
Yeah. That's our rural internet. So okay, I'll just back up to the PCOS. I'm a little bit more curious about what you're doing for that, because I know we've got some people that it's a struggle.
Yeah, it definitely is. So I've used pieces of plexus, but I've also know like sometimes in life our body needs other things too, and so we stack those together. So I have done, Dr. Jess does a hormone panel, and so I've done hormone panel with her. So I have some extra things I'm doing, but some of the biggest things I have done is I do 2 slims a day, every single day. PCOS is based off blood sugar. So I do microbiome in the morning, and honestly, the hunger control is my favorite. So that's what I do in the afternoon. So I do that one. Do you guys have both versions there? Okay. I wasn't sure.
We do.
So yeah, that is a big thing that I do. I'm super adamant about making sure I'm always getting fats in with my proteins. So this means like when I make my lean shake in the morning, I always add in like heavy, like full fat coconut milk, and I add nuts in and things like that, so that I know that I'm doing that stuff to extra balance my blood sugar with food, because you don't want to
Yeah.
we love our slim, but we also want to like make good food choices that help support it through the process as well. And just eating super, super healthy, balanced food. I kind of eat more towards a ketogenic type diet um, for myself, but um, yeah, that's kind of what some of the
That's
biggest
really
things.
helpful because sometimes maybe we mistakenly give an impression that supplements are going to solve everything, and they're only a piece of it. We
Mm-hmm.
need the water. We need the good food. We need the activity. There's numerous things that go with it. So I really appreciate you bringing that out. Berlin, you said something. I really met you when we were doing a book study about John Maxwell, who my people know I'm passionate about John Maxwell. So the book we were studying was Leadership, and you said something along the line of you spent some time saying yes to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that really intrigued me as to what brought you to that space and what kind of a growth process happened for you and your husband during that time.
Yeah, so I'll go back and do a little storytelling for that, because that was a powerful thing for us. So Um, thinking back, I was a foster parent in 2017. And right after we stopped fostering, like literally the day after, we were gonna like take a break, or we knew we needed a break of some sort. We actually, his work took us out of town to San Antonio, Texas, which I don't know if you guys know anything about San Antonio, Texas, there in Canada, but it is absolutely beautiful. It's such a fun place. So we got the opportunity to spend time there, just the two of us. After before like me before that, we'd had a house full of kids, so like we had been like all in the house, we went from like no kids to a house full. So back to freedom. And so we started to realize that we wanted more out of life in there. We were like, dang, we're sitting here in a really pretty state, like here in I almost said Michigan, no, it's where I grew up, here in Texas. And we're like, there's lots for us to see that's not that far away. Like there's so much here, even in our own country, and I mean, shoot, even Canada. um there's lots of great things. And one thing, honestly, one thing that super triggered us is we actually watched a documentary. I think it's on Amazon Prime. It's called Expedition Happiness, and they actually took a road trip. They took an old school bus, turned it into like basically an RV, and they actually traveled through the US, and they actually went up through Canada as well. And it just showed all the really beautiful places. And so it opened us up. Like we were already big dreamers that have big goals and stuff. Um, but we didn't have necessarily a path to completely take. Like we had ideas. Like I've been in the health world for a long time, but it's like, how do we do it? How do we build it? How do we do things? And so we watched a documentary, and it really helped us start to dream really, really big. And so basically we watched that documentary while we were in San Antonio. We were there for 8 months, and we came back to our house in a small town in Texas where there's not all there is chain food restaurants, and we had just been around a lot of really like cool, unique restaurants where we could get really great healthy food. And we decided when we came back to our home that we were like, this is our year of growth. This is our year to say yes to things. So we literally, anything we could find, like we found like a Kingdom faith-based conference, we went to it. I don't know if you know who E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher is. He's a motivational speaker, but we went to his conference. Like Tony Robbins tickets were in. Like we literally, like if there was a course we could buy, like we got Instagram courses. We got like all kinds of courses, marketing courses, just all the things we're like, we're going to learn all we can. So we dove in. We did invest quite a bit of finances that year. This was during 2018, 2019. I'm like trying to think now. 2019. Yeah. So before I found Plexus, so we dove into learning. We're like, we don't know what we're growing or what we're building, but we know that we do not want to be limited to small town, my husband working a job, being in one place. Like we want adventure. We want to be able to see things and do things. Like we just knew that's what we wanted. And so that really opened us up to dreaming, to knowing what's possible, to getting around other people with a mindset that there's more possible, which is massive. It opened us up, especially joining like masterminds and even just Facebook groups that are really like programs, just different things. it opened us up to those things. And it also taught us a lot about what it takes to build a business on the side of social media and how to talk to people, the psychology of talking to people, things like that. So we dove in, and I always say that my Plexus business, like I've had people go, wow, Berlin, you grew so fast. Like, this is insane. I'm like, no, I grew this in my guest year. That's when I grew this. Before I even knew about Plexus, that's when I grew it, is when in my years, and like my year of learning and diving in. And that doesn't mean to grow Plexus you have to have education beforehand. It just kind of shows that the diving and saying yes to things and growing things and doing uncomfortable things, because I'm not one, like going to conferences and stuff, I'm not a super in-person person. Like I 2020, I'm like, yes, bring on the Zoom calls. I don't have to go anywhere. Church is online. I'm here for it. Like I could be home. Like you guys can't see it, but there's dogs all around me right now. I've got 4 dogs around me. Like I can be home with my dogs for church. It's all good. So like it was saying yes to uncomfortable things. It was stepping into new spaces and learning new things. And so I believe like those are the things that really helped me in growing forward, is saying yes to those.
That's cool. And so you mentioned moving ahead fast. For the ambassadors that are watching, I'm sure they'd love to know what rank you've achieved, but I'd also be interested to know what the financial rewards have offered you.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously I signed up yeah, I'm like, what year is it? 20, January 2020. Like I said, I started training in March 2020. Was it last month or 2 months ago? I'm trying to remember. Not the end of this last month, but the month before. So like March, I had senior Ruby status, in the company. So that was pretty exciting, to get there. And for the financial wise, do you just mean like what it's done for my life? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah.
people, there's a lot of people just really think that MLMs really don't ever make any money, and that there's really not much for financial benefits. And well, we do no different. So
Right. I mean, I could pay my mortgage 3 times over. That's one nice thing each month.
yeah.
So that's super beneficial. But yeah, I mean, for us, my husband has a lot of school debt. So that's one big thing. Like he went to one of the top 10 engineering schools in the US, and top 10 schools cost top 10 money.
Oh, it does.
So like that's something that's been awesome. It's also given us opportunity to pour into like other types of businesses and stuff as well, and to grow things. It gives you the opportunity. Like here's the thing, is when you're making money, you're able to actually take some of that money too and to invest in growing yourself more. So there are things that we've been able to do to where like, hey, I need to learn this new thing, right? Like there's still things I need to learn. I probably should be on TikTok, probably should be doing this stuff. I'm not yet, but like I can if I want to. I know I can invest a little bit of money into taking a course on it real quick so I can accelerate it, so I don't have to learn on my own. And when you accelerate things, you can grow faster, you can build your business faster. I think it's even fun too that like when you get to a certain point, I mean, some people come in and it's fun for them to build a business and that's why they're here, they don't need the money. Some people come in and they do need the money, but it's fun when you get to the point too where you're like, hey, like I hit a new rank in the company. Cool. I'm going to send a like Starbucks or whatever coffee shop you guys have there. I don't know if you guys have
We do.
Starbucks.
We do have Starbucks.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, but like I'm going to send Starbucks gift cards to all my girls because they all, like, hey, we hit a rank last night. Like let's all celebrate. Now we're going to go get coffee today. Like we're all over the country, but like let's go do it. So it's fun to be able to do stuff like that and to just be able to like have the finances. Like I said, we want to build several types of businesses. My husband feels called to buy businesses and make them really pleasant places for people to work, right? So we're able to start pouring stuff into what it's going to take for us to get there and expand things to go further. Like he really has a desire to, they said, own businesses where people are just like, I love my job. I will do anything to keep it because my boss is amazing. My company's amazing. They treat me well, all the things. And so we can pour into growing those things for ourselves too. It's really cool.
That's an incredible vision. And that really just leads me into my next question, was the visioning piece. What does it look like for you in 3 years? What sort of dreams, big dreams, what kind of visions do you have?
I mean, we plan to go diamond 4 times.
Good job. Good job.
That's our plan.
Diamond income's pretty amazing with what you can do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So my husband just signed up as an ambassador. So he just went fast our silver last month. So that was exciting. But yeah, we like, that is our plan, is like, we want to go really far in the business. We really want to be able to make an influence. We want to um, be able to grow their businesses. We want to grow legacy type of things. Like legacy,
Yeah.
life change type things is really something that we love, right? I have a goal of being able to, how do I go back and explain this? I want to make sure I'm not just like bleh. Basically, I have a big desire to reach a lot of women. Like one of my most passionate things is seeing women love themselves, be confident in themselves, and know that they're capable of chasing after things. I don't care if you have a house full of babies, if you have a special needs child, if you have your parents living with you. I don't care if you have another job you're working. Like I'm like I 100% believe that women can do this, men too, of course. But I'm just super passionate about women because I feel like there's a lot of pressure put on women, a lot of things that they carry, but I want them to know they can still go after their dreams and goals. So like I have a passion to be able to have like I'm planning to launch a podcast soon. I want to be able to invest in someone else's business who edits my podcast for me, and I want my reach to go further. I want to be able to share this like the passion faster because I want to see more women be able to walk that out and to basically get the message and get the word out there, and have that excitement about it. So that's a lot of what my vision is just be able to have that reach go further. And of course, just have women feel confident in who they are, their bodies, physically, even in the way they look, right? To be confident in that. To know how to love their bodies well and care for it through health. Like that's another super passionate thing. So a lot of it's just like getting my passion out there and wanting that to go further. And like I said, my husband and I super want adventure. We want to buy an RV. We want to travel with our 4 dogs. Like right now, our big vision, I'll tell you, like, our big vision right now is we really want to move across the state. So like for us, our goal is to get him out of his job. He's like, I'm sick of being an engineer. I want to be an entrepreneur. And we want to move to where our church is. Our church is online. We watch it online, but it's 6 hours away and we want to be there in person. So like right now, like our immediate vision is we're like, get to Amarillo, Texas, where our church is at. Like that is our big vision. It's like get to Amarillo, Texas. So, yeah, there's a lot of vision there. There's a lot of things where both are like people usually make a dream board. We have like this massive vision board, because we're big dreamers. So there's lots of vision there, but that's a piece of it.
That's exciting. And when the world is opened up and you can travel borders, my vision is for you to come and visit.
Okay.
That'd be fabulous. So I've got one last question, but I just want to check. I'm just going to look over here and see what we've got. If we've got any questions in the Facebook group, to see. Oh yeah, somebody mentioned when you first tried the Slim, you said it hurt your tummy. Just going back to the next time you tried it, did that happen? Or it was just that day?
Yeah, so I just took a full pack. That's it, right off the bat. Whenever I start people, I would start people on a half pack at least for 3 days. So I had just told Dr. Jess, I'm like, last time I tried this, it hurt my stomach. Now I'm one that I'm like, I'll try hard things, right? So I'm like, I'll try it again, but here's what happened last time. Like I did not feel good. So we started on half a pack of Slim, and then I did that for a few days, and then we went up. I think I actually started with the hunger control as well. So that's not going to hit, doesn't have the microbiome aspect. So I actually start most people on the hunger control now just because I have had people who had a stomach ache or like liver detox real fast, to make it easier. But I just do it the first month. But yeah, so that's what I did. I started on half a pack and the hunger control.
We've actually got another question on the liver side, and it says, with liver clearing, Slim helps. What else?
What else? Liver cleansing helps, like doing full liver cleanses. That's really powerful. That's one of the big things, but making sure you know in enough water, avoiding any medications that you can. Of course, listen to your doctor. Avoiding any medications and stuff that you can. Eating really clean. I'm super passionate about eating very, very clean. Keeping junk out of your diet is going to be super helpful. Eating lots of fats and a lower amount of carbs is going to be really good for the body too with that.
For liver. Okay, great. Yeah, somebody's like normal, like who knows what normal is. Okay, do we have any others? Education applies to different situations. Oh, what are the costs of your plexus business? That's an interesting question.
The cost. I don't have numbers because I do not keep track of any of it. I always joke people like, how much do you make? I was like, let me ask my husband because he does all the money in our house. I'm like, I had signed up. I think I was almost gold before my husband's like, we probably should send up your wallet. I'm like, maybe. Can you do it? Like I'm just sharing with people and helping people. Costs for me. So I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously we have to do our order each month, right? To sign up or to for that. I'm like, what else do I actually put costs into? Whenever someone signs up with me, like I'm not a sample sender. I think I've given away 2 samples ever. Um, but what I do is after someone signs up for the welcome kit, I do send a package where I put a card in there. I like to do little gifts that would just remind them of me. So I do things like I get on Amazon, I buy a big bag of those like velvet and silk scrunchies. You can get like a bag of 100 of them. So I throw a scrunchie in there. Sometimes throw in like an essential oil bracelet, just so it's like something health conscious that makes them think of me too when they wear it. And then I throw in an active and I throw in like whatever samples I can get from Plexus I put in easily. I throw some of those in there as well, throw in some protein powder so they could try those. Because oftentimes, like for me, I don't have a lot of people who start off with active, with a skincare or the protein powder. And so it's something they're kind of, especially with protein powder, people are like, I've tried a lot of really gross ones. So they don't want to try it. But when I send it and they're like, oh, this tastes like ice cream. I'm like, yes, it does. You should put it in your coffee and it tastes like a latte.
My
So
favorite way.
yeah, so
Cool.
there's those little packages and stuff that I send out. But obviously like those aren't things that you have to do. Like if you're first starting out and you're like, hey, like I am on a tighter budget, those aren't things that you have to do. Or you could even send an envelope where you just send a card and you drop in an active packet, like one thing, right? Even just a card, just send them a card. Like that just costs you a stamp and you can send that out. That's something that's super powerful. I do have some automated systems and stuff that I use, like text message services, things like that my husband builds for me. I don't know how they work, but I just tell him what they need to say and he builds them. So I have things like that have some cost to them, but I pay like a penny per text message. So it's not, I mean, it might be $20 a month if that.
Right.
Yeah.
Super. There's another question, and it's on the
Yeah.
business side. It's what's your top suggestion for someone who needs the money but comes across as desperate?
Like they feel like they come across as desperate. Is that what you?
Or maybe you're talking to them and that's your feeling in how they come across. I'm kind of interpreting the question. So
Yeah. Can you read the full question to me one more time? Sorry, I just want to make sure.
So it is, what is your top suggestion for someone who needs the money from Plexus but comes across desperate?
Okay, I think I got it now because I think I've experienced this possibly with working with people. Comes across as desperate. Personal growth is going to be a massive thing, and and changing the mindset around it. When you come across as desperate, you are going to repel people like crazy. Network marketing can get a bad name because people go, they're trying to make money off their friends, which I've always been a business owner, so I'm like, yeah, we're all trying to make money off our job. Of course we are. But when you work on your growth mindset of knowing, first of all, like you've got to learn that there are so many people that need you. So if someone tells you no, do not, like I tell my girls all the time, I said, do not waste your time on someone who is saying no, because all you're doing is wasting the time of someone that's suffering. I cannot tell you the number of people I have found on my friends list who do not have a gallbladder that are silently suffering with diarrhea every single day, who won't eat until 5 p.m. because they feel like trash. And I'm wasting my time on someone that was like, no, I don't think so. I don't know. Can we go $20 cheaper? Like, can we, like, if someone that's like that, I'm like, let me no, get a mindset where you realize literally if you have 1,000 people on your friends list, I would say 500 of those people at least, well, we all know everyone needs it, but there's probably 500 people on your friends list who have acid reflux. Moms, okay, if a mom has toddlers, let's just assume she's stressed out. Okay, and she would like to not feel stressed out, and she has mom guilt because she's stressed out, and she has brain fog because she's stressed out, and she's not sleeping well. Like, grow your mindset and tell them to grow their mindset. Like if this is someone in your downline that you're asking about, they need to grow their mindset to a place where it doesn't phase them. If someone says, first of all, someone says no, it's a not yet, they will be back. They always come back. they always come back. I have had people who I know who are very publicly anti-MLM. One girl that messaged me like last month that was like, "Hey girl, I want to like I want to work with you." And she didn't say I want to try Plexus. I actually don't talk about Plexus publicly on my social media. But like they will always come back to you. Grow your mindset so that you are in this place where you begin to realize, first of all, I don't have a limited number of people. You are on the internet. I had someone actually say to me, they're like, "You're on the internet. No one is safe from you." We can find every single human being on earth. So to limit our mindset to like, here's the 20 people I think on my friends list might sign up, like broaden your view to the fact that you have Facebook groups to have access to, that you can connect with, that you can grow your friends. Each time you sign someone up and they have 1,000 friends, you've just opened yourself up to 1,000 more people. So it's growing your mindset that like literally there are so many people out there, and like having this mindset of I literally don't even have the capacity to reach all the people that need me. Instead of being like, oh, I only have this many people. No, your capacity is not even big enough to help the number of people that you have access to in your world. So if you're there where you're like, I have a hard time with this, like first check yourself and analyze yourself. Like, do I need to grow in this area? Like for some of us, it's like, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to admit it first where you're like, oh, this is hard. But like check yourself, ask your upline. I do that all the time with my upline. Like, what do I need to work on? I know there's stuff I got to work on. And get advice on what books and stuff you need to read. If you don't like to sit down and read, I don't love to sit down and read. I'm an audiobook person. I'm like, I'll just listen to the book 3 times while I'm cleaning my house, on fast forward, because that's how I like to listen to it, like 2x speed. And I'm like, anything I missed the first time, I'll get it the third time. It's fine. But yeah, I would just tell that person to like grow, and give them advice on stuff. Ask them, hey, can I offer you some advice on what I think could be really helpful on you growing your business? And then they have the option to say no, and then they have an option to move forward on taking that advice.
Good. That's awesome. Well, I think we're just going to kind of get wrapped up. I've got one last question I'd like to ask you. And it is, so the Berlin now has an opportunity to give advice to the Berlin 10 years ago. What kinds of things would you say?
Oh man, stop caring what other people think. This is your life. Live your life. And free yourself, especially from the people that are close to you. And be okay with growing without them. Because not everyone's supposed to grow with you. Not everyone's supposed to grow with you or go with you. So be willing to make your own choices and your own decisions to move forward on the things that you want inside of you. And like, do not give a dang care what anyone thinks, because they don't get to, they don't pay your bills. They don't like, they don't do anything. They don't pay your bills. They don't have to go and live your life. They don't have to be there and experience the emotions you experience. Like they don't have any of that. So go and literally chase what you want as hard and as fast as you can, and don't care what anyone thinks.
That is magic, Berlin. Thank you so much for your time this morning. So for those that are watching, I know these are going to be so many gems, so much value. So thanks to everybody. And we're going to stop our live stream.
Perfect.
Stop everything.